when I turn it on. Too fast, never like the. I don't write none of this music. None of it. None of it. Unless you hear me on. And that ain't gonna be on this playlist, not today. Right. Say that for another occasion. What up? It's 10:24. You feel me? In the building with my brethren, blessings, Carl Ray, Universal Frequencies. You feel me? What I'm saying?
Peace, blessings. Y'all already know, man. Now, you don't already know. That's why I'm introducing myself. Now it's the Vibrate, Universal Frequencies, Universal. Just keeping it simple, man. And I appreciate.
Go
Josh.
Check him out. Go check him out. He got YouTube. He got Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like Universal Frequencies. All you gotta do is Google it and everything gonna pop up. Spelled exactly as it is, man. Like for sure. That's that guy. Like don't get it twisted. That's that guy, bro. For real. I'm grateful. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like I had to give again, I believe letting people shine in their light the way that they supposed to, man. Like when you shine, and don't be mad that you shining. Like you know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do.
Nah, right.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
gonna happen regardless, like you say. So
exactly,
good talk.
Man.
But now, and I was gonna simply say, and I appreciate Josh for having me here. Let's give thanks.
I'm grateful for Source having me here. I'm grateful to be able to share this space and be with folk and just genuinely deal. Yo, man, today I'm about to cover some shit that I know gonna be kind of controversial and kind of like ruffle some feathers, and I don't give a fuck. And I don't care if you agree. Like, that's the best part. I don't care if you agree. I'm just stating facts because they need to be stated as far as I'm concerned, you know what I'm saying? Just so that way you can be made aware and decide what you're going to do with them, you know what I mean? Like, questions that need to be proposed so you can genuinely figure out, like, whether you going to decide to answer it or leave it. Leave it as a question, you know what I mean? So, and I'm glad to have Carl right here with me as a different perspective, you know what I'm saying, to be able to offer what he sees from his angle, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, one of the things that had me really spiked to do this video in the first place was I had been peeping and seeing a lot of people talk about the vaccine and COVID-19 and everybody doing this like pandemic dance and shit. And I was like seeing people be like, oh, if you understood science, well, if you understood science, then you would understand that this vaccine is necessary and you would understand that people are dying and you just need to go get the shot. And all right, so I feel like that opened the door for me to offer my opinion, you know what I'm saying? And again, that's how we're going to be able to take it as, because everybody got the angle, but I still got to get these questions that have played my mind and I accept to be fact. You know what I mean? So, if you knew science, you feel me? There's a gentleman by the name of Gregor Mendel. You feel me? It says they reference him as an 1860 scientist. It says he was a mathematician. It says that the gentleman was he not only was a mathematician, he was a meteorologist, and that they reference him as the father of genetics. He was able to establish 3 laws. Scientific laws is what they called it. They call it a law because it hasn't been disproven. And he was able to become aware of 3 specific laws through mixing and breeding pea plants together that they use in genetics and say, like, these are facts that we accept in science. You know what I mean?
No, and I was just going to say, and also remembering with a lot of science stuff and a lot of information, like going deeper and seeing, where a lot of science come from and how, again, like certain people apply science from their perspective, but not science from the whole true perspective, And I think about, again, like, I always bring up Dr. Sebi in these situations where, and again, it has nothing to deal with like separating ourselves. Is the general aspect of honoring facts where, here somebody of, that doesn't have melanin giving me my advice on how to carry myself, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. But when they're not honoring the things that truly honor me and, you know, the melanin that, again, because it's just a bodysuit, yes, but it's our vehicle. And just like a vehicle, I value my vehicle and I want my vehicle to ride smoothly through this ride, you know what I'm saying? And not have to deal with, you know, this dis-ease of the body or any false dis-ease, you know what I'm saying? Through lack of understanding, you know, and lack of tapping in properly because I'm letting somebody else tell me how to be me, you know. Same thing with the Neanderthal aspect too. That's a whole different story, but
Nah, for sure. And let's just establish this as far as I'm concerned to begin with.
right.
Science, anyway, is just man's best explanation for what he does not understand. All science is a nigga done went and looked up as much information he could about something he didn't know about in the first place that he done found and then tried to explain it to you best that he knows it after he done spent as much time with it as he could. So, therefore, it ain't nothing but a bunch of people's findings around here that, like, if you really don't go double check and prove to yourself anyway, you just accepting someone else's perspective to be true in the first place. So, again, according to science, you know what I'm saying, this thing that everybody want to live by, kind of like the Bible, you feel me, what I'm saying, like, or whatever religious aspect you choose to divert to, you feel what I'm saying, like, it's the same way people are treating science. It's like a religion. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the end all be all for everything. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk science. Science says, according to Mendel's law, through his study of genetics, through the blending of plants, that you can get the lesser from a dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from a lesser. I'm gonna break that down because that's the law in its most simplistic form. That's just one of them. There's a law of segregation. There's a law of things assorting themselves as an individual assortment. The law of individual assortment. So it's like, but the law of dominance, which is one of the three of inheritance laws that he stated, says that you can get the lesser from a dominant, but you can't get the dominant from a lesser. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked.
Right. I heard you ask.
That means that if you are not in possession of something, you cannot give it to me. But if I have it, I have the option of giving it to you or not. You could get it from me. You cannot get it from me. I don't have to give it to you. But since I have it, I have the ability to give it to you. So, everybody talking about going to get these vaccines and these shots and anything like that. I have a comprehension that the people who are in charge and telling everybody what to do are of the same kind. They all have the same agenda. They're on one accord. They're in agreement with each other. So, my question is, what are the people at the top trying to accomplish? Like, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I don't share your perspective because I am not you. So I can't really begin to understand what you're trying to do unless I can understand you for real. And so, as far as humankind is concerned, in any living organism, period, in order for something to be created, whatever is the result of two things blending to create, because it has to be a minimum of two in order to blend and create a new thing. The new thing is now in possession of both parts of whatever was responsible for creating it. But it doesn't mean that it has all of the capabilities of the things that created it. It means that it has both parts of those things in it to be at all. But it does not mean that what is in both of them is exactly in you and you can do everything that those things can do. That's not exactly how it works. You have the potential, but it doesn't mean that you'll actually really get it or hit it, or even that you're in possession of what they're in possession of to get it as easily as they did. You might have to work way, way, way harder to do it. You feel me? It doesn't mean that you can't get there, but it's because you don't have as much of what made it easy for them.
Right.
So, a lesser from a dominant. All mankind possesses melanin, from the darkest to the lightest. As a matter of fact, the darker you are, the more melanin you possess. The lighter you are, the less melanin you possess. That alone states that a person who is of lighter skin, hence Caucasian, cannot give melanin that they are not in possession of. I could not be the product of two white people blending together to have me. That's not going to happen. By their own law, hence Gregor Mendel. But two dark-skinned, highly melanated people can blend together and have a fair-skinned child or an albino, where the genes literally, as they were running down the line of the generation, just brushed this in particular one lightly, or kind of like skipped over it, and it's going through all of them. You feel me? It missed it, and boom, it comes out albino. You feel me? Like lacking, not as much, like not having as much melanin. You know what I'm saying? You can, and anything that I'm saying, you can go genuinely go Google it. Like, you can go look up black people having albino children. You can go look. There's entire albino communities in like Africa and other places.
And I was gonna bring up, because also you could go look up the people from the Andaman Islands. It's like around the Philippines, but their people is from the Solomon Islands, and they have like blonde hair and blue eyes, but they melanated. And also the people of the Sentinel Island, which is an island that's unoccupied by nobody else but the people of the Sentinel Island. And those two beings have some of the eldest DNA in the, on the, recorded, on the plane of existence. And again, melanated beings. And you start to see again, like with all the traditions and everything, how when you go far back, it's connected with the melanated aspect. And like you say, with the whole aspect of like when it got to a point where no mingling with melanated people, because it's gonna change the situation up. It's like, again, once you go black, you can't go back in that sense of it.
It's this simple, bro. I'm glad you said that, my boy. Okay, so watch this. Once you go black, you don't go back. That ain't talking about when a woman lays down with a nigga because he got a big dick or whatever, that she ain't gonna go have sex with another man. No, what it literally means is if I go mix with a white person, if me and a white woman go and she gets impregnated by me, that because I have more melanin than she has, the child is going to come out dominantly most of the time with my traits, which means that this process continues to happen over and over and over, and we're consistently mixing with darker and fair-skinned people. The dominant trait, according to their law, is the one that is going to take over, so therefore theirs is not even going to be present anymore, is no longer existent. If that happens enough, you feel me, then the light skin no longer is present because the dominant one takes over. And the only chance that the lighter skin or fair skin one has of existing is that recessive gene trait happening. That once in a blue moon. And so you're like, well, yeah, so what? Well, duh, nigga, that's the whole problem. It's that simple. If I am not in control of the majority, if the lesser does not find a way to control the dominant, then there's no way that the lesser could guarantee its lifespan. By default, the lesser would not exist.
And matter of fact, it made me think about like how also the gun was designed to mimic the black man's penis, or the melanated person's penis, in the sense of like that's the great equalizer, because again, like the solar phallic energy.
You give life,
right,
and I'll take it. You feel me? What I'm saying, right. Like with the same.
my genetics literally like is like a gun to the existence of non-melanated people. Because again, like it's the dominant trait, like, so to speak. And again, like with that whole aspect, the gun being created to again try to be that great equalizer and try to fight against something that's natural. As another thing, like this gun had to be man-made, but my gun not man. You know, I mean,
and yours run out of bullets and mine don't.
You know,
you feel what I'm saying? Like, as much as you gotta reload that chamber. Dog, you feel what I'm saying? Like, literally, because you're trying to, like you said, even the playing field. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to reduce the amount of life that I'm giving off, because guess what? Again, the only way for you to ensure that you can keep, like, going on is you have to control me, because here's the truth. You really cannot exist without me.
Right.
Which is why you try and use me the way in which you do.
And as you say that, and hence why, like, I'm balanced at the way I even speak on these things. Like, again, like, bringing them up enough for you to be aware. Like, I bring it up and I tell people, like, hey, we want to be aware of these things. But again, the name of the game, too, in this laws of the universe, all is mind is mental and connected with the subconscious. Like, as long as we keep paying attention to whatever they're doing and giving it that power, then it stays, you know, in existence in that sense of it.
True.
So,
but if you're not aware of it to begin with, you're not even fighting a battle that you're not even fighting the battle you need to fight in order to win, to change what you're trying to change. The things that you're trying to alter really aren't going to be altered, because the battle that you're fighting is a false one. I got you fighting this stupid battle over here because I got you thinking stupid, so you don't even know what to fight against to really change your circumstances. Right. And so the thing is not to be afraid, because they ain't beat you and you ain't even know. Don't be afraid. Get hit. Get too legit to quit. Like, don't trip. You feel what I'm saying? Like, no, become aware so you can really deal. Bro, in your ignorance, they ain't been able to beat you. And that's what they was hoping. They was hoping that they could beat you while you stayed dumb before you became aware, because they knew that once you became aware, there's no chance at me beating you then. Nigga, if you know, if you knew. Right. But so my goal is to keep you from knowing, because my people perish for a lack of knowledge. If I can keep you from knowing, if I can keep you from covering the gap from where you're unsure to what you need to be sure for assurance within yourself, which is where your power come from and where your energy come from for you to be able to move and exercise your will whenever you want to, then I'm in control. And how do I do that? Keep you off your rocker. Don't let you know who you are. Scare you all the time. You feel me? Have you living in fear. You feel me? Do all this shit that I can. You feel me? To never keep you focused on what really matters, because if you don't, then bro, I can do what I need to do.
Right. Cause and the science that keep coming up too is like the science of the mind and the importance of the subconscious aspect, like keeping that drip away from everybody, and also like what Hollywood does and promotes, you know, subconsciously through, you know, these depictions where you got gods of Egypt, but there's no melanated people, you know, depicted in the movies. But you know, going back to slavery, where here it is, where it's like over 1,000 slaves to like a couple of to maybe let's just say 20 overseers, you know, and it's like, but they won't budge because they're programmed subconsciously. You know, it's a subconscious programming, and that's through symbols, repetition, and trauma. You know, and again, like those three things constantly being pushed on us, and it creates emotional triggers, and we, you know, again, like, and hence it becomes like a relationship with an ex, because you know that ex where you know you should just not even answer that text or pay attention, but you like, because you're used to dealing with that ex, you know, you kind of go back to that ex and dealing with that, but it's like that same little energy subconsciously that a lot of us are dealing with right now, and having to be, you know, honest with, you know, because even with myself, like,
a lot of us don't know how to do that though.
And I know, and that's why we're bringing it up.
A lot of us don't know how to not, like you said, not answer that text.
Right.
A lot of us don't know how to not, because watch this, even and still, watch this. It's like you want to ignore, but on an individual level, even if you ignore on an individual level, it's so hard to still not see on a macro level how it's affecting all the people who don't know to ignore it, because they don't even know it's a problem.
Right.
So they're still giving it attention by default, because they don't even know that this is something to be ignored and that I need to even go in another way. They're thinking they're going to find their solution through the thing that they're supposed to be ignoring.
Bro, look,
you feel me? And so that's why I'm like, Yo, like what's crazy is that's the trick. I'm not gonna make you think you're sick, but I'm sitting here poisoning you and telling you that it's for your good, it's healthy. And I'll give you enough examples of me acting like I'm doing the same thing when behind closed doors, I live a completely different lifestyle.
And it's as we talk in science and all this blended science and the mind aspect, Aldous Huxley and B.F. Skinner, you could go look those names up. But Aldous Huxley, he did a book called A Brave New World, and they both have statements talking about like how you want to create slaves that don't know they're slaves. And in a Brave New World, it was about like people like being numb because they was forced to take like these little pills that would numb them up and stuff like that. But he spoke on again like creating a world where a slave don't know they're a slave. And B.F. Skinner is also the creator of the little controlling box that they would put rats in, and actually doing those experiments with rats and having them in that box. B.F. Skinner is the one who created that. And he has, again, like quotes. And I got a video where I speak on it, like, again, like creating a dystopia. And again, it's like Josh saying, like, if we don't know that our mind being played with, then how could we ever, again, like an alcoholic, hi, my name is an alcoholic, like, hi, my name is such and such, I'm an alcoholic. And I gotta be, at least be aware of this in order to heal it. You know what I'm saying? And like,
and that's the truth, because see, it's like this. When you're born, you know nothing. And when you say you know nothing, even that statement is fully loaded. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go too deep, but it means pretty much, we'll just say that your mind is pretty much blank. You know what I mean? And so, therefore, the way the mind works is that from the moment that you become aware of yourself in your mother's womb, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? It starts recording events. And these events are all downloaded to your memory bank and accepted to be true or factual until something that contradicts what was initially downloaded presents itself. The reason why that's key is because you have to be aware of who is in control of the mass set of information that's being distributed and pushed, and how everybody who agrees to it, for the most part, is subject to the effects of it, even subconsciously, and what it does. And they consciously and subconsciously are aware of that. The perpetrators who are putting out the information. It's not by accident that they're deliberately doing it. You're just taking it on because you feel like this is what you're supposed to do. And so the thing is that until you have something that completely contradicts it, and when it completely contradicts it, most times the natural reaction is you reject anything that goes against what you have been taught initially. Now, what happens then is that if you refuse to go investigate the information that you are rejecting to force it to prove itself, whether it is truth or lie. You feel me what I'm saying? Because see, here's what I love about information. In order to be able to decipher whether it's true or not, it's really easy once you know what truth is. Truth, as far as I'm concerned, is something that holds up to any scrutiny you place it against. It's the same no matter what. Like, no matter what light you hung it under, no matter what angle you look at it from, it's still equating to the same thing. No matter what angle you take it, it's still creating the same result. It's the same essence. Like, it's the same core value. Like, literally, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if I can't apply it to all situations and it still create the same result, no matter what the situation is, to me, it's not true.
As a matter of fact, or more so, it's a subjective truth, not an objective truth. Because there is subjective truth where this ring right here, if I say this ring is my lucky ring and that motherfucker make me find $100 every time I put it on, I do that and it does that for me, that's true. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And I get this ring to somebody else and they're like, it's cool, and put it on their dressing, don't never wear it, you know? And that's their truth with that same ring, you know? So you do have subjectives, but then you have the objective, like straight facts where no matter how you slice it, you know, this is what it is.
And that's the truth that I'm referencing in instances, the objective truth, because the objective truth is applicable no matter how you feel. No matter who's saying it, no matter who's presenting it, no matter who's...
Right.
It doesn't belong to anyone. Right. It just is. It's facts. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it ain't my truth. You feel me? That's a subjective truth. Subjective truth is my truth. You feel what I'm saying? Right. I ain't talking about my truth. I'm talking about the truth that no matter where you place it at, it's the same every single time. That's what I'm addressing to be true. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Subject truth, like, that's my opinion. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, factual truth would be objective to me. Mm-hmm. And what I realize is that, like, just getting to the facts of matters is what really helped me deal with the things that I was having to swallow that were challenging everything that I knew from being taught what was given to me when I initially showed up here. And so it's not about just giving up what you know because you don't know what you don't. It's about genuinely being a scientist yourself, since everybody want to talk science, and doing the experimentation and creating a hypothesis. Well, I think this will happen if this occurs, and then actually testing it out and seeing what happens to be able to assess a conclusion, a result. You feel me? And determine whether it is or it isn't. So back to the agenda on your will and you as a human being. Every human being, you feel me, has a will that was given to them not by another human being. And in order for you to be the best version of you, you cannot be consistently submitting your will to a being that is not making decisions in your best interest, because they can't.
It's not possible. Like, unless y'all Siamese twins, I always kind of make that joke, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the only way that you making, you know, a decision with or for somebody else to that extent, you know.
And it's crazy because even more so, understanding that the people who are making the decisions for you, understanding where they're making them from. It's a fear-based decision. Everything they're doing is fear-based because they completely comprehend the science of the matter. The science says that by default, if you love me, I disappear. Like, what the No, the science of the matter says that if you don't hate me, if you love me, if you blend with me, if you mix with me, if you create families with me, if you literally like become one with me, then I disappear visually. And of course, nobody cares more about that than them. Bro, you're talking about people who understand the 48 laws of power and how to control mass groups of people. Like, people who study this for eons. You know what I'm saying? To try and get this the way that it is. Bro, and they still have not been able to succeed. You present, you here, look at me talking to you. This is not, they don't want this. I'm being real. I ain't even gonna, this is not what they want.
And look, I'm gonna make a reference, this facts. If people, and this is where you gotta honor the facts, because watch how this rub you the wrong way, but at the same, some of you possibly, but like how it's in connection with us being like roaches and roaches being like the hood spirit animal, or just the animal, spirit animal in general, like jokingly, but like check this out. So roaches are highly melanated, that's why they're brown. And you notice that, and whenever you talk about roaches scientifically, it's like if you nuke the earth or whatever, like roaches will still be around. You know what I'm saying? And even jokingly, like I probably know some of y'all done probably put something in the microwave, and y'all, you know, for those of us who could
relate, yeah,
right,
bro.
right.
Like
Everybody
if you ain't had it all the time, bro.
You know, but you know that roach, you got the microwave on. That roach, we kind of like that roach dancing in there, like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't tripping, and you got the whole microwave on when anything else is getting harmed by that, you know, in that sense of it. And again, like that's connecting with the science of the melanin and being able to survive. And again, like he's saying, like you hear you now still, even throughout all that bullshit, you know.
And that's crazy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they didn't try to snuff you out, but it's crazy because it's a bittersweet thing for them, just to be real. Because from their angle, they literally need you because they can't even sustain themselves. They cannot, scientifically, they cannot sustain themselves. If they were the only thing present, they would still have a extinction date.
And scientifically and how you say, historically and literarily speaking too, you know, the Moors in Spain end up making the universities, like over 16 universities in Europe, you know, and to help expand their education. Matter of fact, was bringing up Enochian magic, so while we was bringing up that, and I can get deep in that, but the Brethren John Dee, if you research his name, he was considered like one of the most smart and prominent people, you know, in England, and that was right in the 1500s, right after the late 1400s, where the Moors signed off everything to Queen Isabella. But long story short, you know, seeing like scientifically, you know, again, like the Bible is like 2,000 years old, Quran around 6,000 years old, but they got water erosion on the Sphinx that's over 10,000 years old. So, and that's science. You know, because water erosion is a science, you know, so again, like science, truth, like no matter
everybody
how
want to talk science right now in this moment about all these vaccines, this COVID-19, everything else like that. Like, bro, if science tells me that the person who is feeding me more science, you know what I'm saying, would not be present if they don't find a way to control me because I produce them, they don't produce me, which would make me the dominant of the two beings because I can sustain without them, but they can't sustain without me.
Right.
Sun kills them but gives me life.
Is in the...
You feel what I'm saying? And I'm just being real because the thing is like, I don't want you to live in fear on either end. I don't want you to live in fear of what they could do to you because there's nothing that can be done to you. And I don't want you to live in fear on what you should do. See, most people don't realize that the reason why you are afraid of anything is because of the lack of information that you have on it. So you're not sure. You can't make a genuine